Here's a psychology truth most people aren't ready for. The calmer you become, the more uncomfortable you make others feel. Not because you're arrogant, not because you're distant, but because your calm exposes their chaos. And if you've ever been told you're too quiet, too cold, or too slow, this video is about why that might actually be your greatest advantage. Think about this for a second. How often do you feel pressured to react fast, explain yourself, prove something, stay visible, stay loud? Your brain learns that urgency equals importance. But what if that's exactly what's draining your mental focus, killing your productivity, and keeping your mindset stuck in survival mode? What if calm isn't weakness, but discipline most people never train? I tested this for 30 days, and what surprised me wasn't peace at first. It was how unnatural calm felt in a world addicted to reaction. That discomfort forced a question that changed everything. What if the most powerful creatures on this planet don't survive by reacting, but by waiting? Because there's a reason one of the oldest predators on Earth barely moves, barely reacts, and still dominates its environment. And once you understand that, you'll never see calm the same way again. There's a reason the crocodile hasn't changed much in millions of years. It doesn't rush, it doesn't panic. When it waits, its heart rate drops dramatically, conserving energy while staying fully alert. That's not weakness, that's biological mastery. And here's the uncomfortable life lesson. The human brain was designed for the same kind of mental focus, but modern life trained you to do the opposite. Real self-development starts when you stop mistaking stillness for inaction and start seeing it as control. Think about it. When a crocodile moves, it's not reacting, it's choosing. No wasted motion, no emotional noise, no impulsive strike. That's peak mindset and discipline working together. Humans, on the other hand, burn energy scrolling, reacting, explaining themselves, defending opinions nobody asked for. Your nervous system never gets to rest, so your productivity suffers. Calm isn't about being passive. It's about storing power until the moment actually deserves it. You can test this today. The next time something triggers you, a message, a comment, a delay, don't respond immediately. Sit with it for 10 seconds. Breathe slower than your instinct wants. That pause alone rewires your mental focus. It teaches your brain that you're safe without reacting. Over time, this builds personal growth the same way reps build muscle. Books like Thinking, Fast and Slow, or The Art of Not Giving a F reinforce this idea. The strongest decisions come after the emotional spike fades. Here's the insight most people miss. Predators don't look busy. They look calm. And calm makes chaotic people nervous because it exposes their lack of control. When you slow your internal rhythm, your time management improves, your decisions sharpen, and your presence changes. But this level of calm doesn't exist in isolation. It gets challenged constantly by a world addicted to noise, urgency, and emotional chaos. And that's exactly where the real conflict begins. Once you notice real calm, you start seeing how rare it is. And that's when the contrast hits. Modern culture isn't designed for mental focus. It's designed for reaction. Notifications, outrage cycles, endless opinions, dopamine on demand. Your brain gets trained to respond before it thinks. That's why productivity feels harder than it should, and self-development feels exhausting instead of empowering. Chaos became normal, and anything slower than panic now feels uncomfortable. Here's the harsh psychology most people avoid. The system rewards emotional reactivity. The angrier, louder, or more anxious you are, the more visible you become. Social media monetizes your fear. News feeds profit from your outrage. Algorithms love urgency because urgency kills reflection. Over time, your mindset adapts to this environment, not to help you grow, but to keep you hooked. And without discipline, your attention slowly becomes someone else's asset. Notice how often you're pulled into things that don't matter. A debate that won't change your life. A notification that interrupts deep work. A comparison spiral that drains energy. None of this improves personal growth or teaches real-life lessons. It fragments your time management and trains your nervous system to stay alert even when there's no real threat. That's why so many people feel tired without doing anything meaningful. Their brains never power down. The dangerous part isn't chaos itself, it's how normal it feels now. When everyone is reactive, calm looks suspicious. When everyone is overwhelmed, stillness feels lazy. But that illusion sets the stage for something deeper. Because once you realize the chaos is optional, you face a harder question. If calm isn't weakness, what is it really? And why does it quietly intimidate people who live in noise? Here's the shift most people never make. Calm isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose. And choosing calm in a reactive world takes discipline. It's emotional jujitsu. You don't fight force with force, you redirect it. When you stay grounded while others spiral, your mindset changes from defensive to strategic. That's real personal growth, not motivational hype, but internal control that shows up when it actually matters. Calm people aren't passive, they're selective. They don't respond to every provocation because they understand energy economics. Every emotional reaction costs focus. Every argument drains productivity. Every unnecessary explanation weakens your position. That's why calm feels powerful. It preserves mental focus. You stop leaking attention, and suddenly your time management improves without adding a single new tool or system. This is where things get interesting socially. Calm attracts and unsettles at the same time. People sense it. They don't know why you're not reacting, but they feel it. Silence creates tension because it removes predictability, and predictability is how chaotic people feel safe. When you don't give them emotional feedback, you quietly regain control of the interaction. That's a life lesson most people only learn after years of unnecessary conflict. The irony is that calm is rare precisely because it requires effort. Anyone can react. Few can restrain themselves. And rarity creates value. But once you realize calm is a form of power, another realization follows, an uncomfortable one. Because choosing calm doesn't just change you, it puts you in direct opposition to a system that feeds on your fear, your urgency, and your emotional noise. And that's where calm stops being personal and becomes rebellious. Once you see calm as power, you can't unsee what the world is really doing to you. Fear is monetized. Anger is rewarded. Urgency is sold as importance. The system doesn't want you grounded. It wants you reactive. Because a reactive mind clicks more, buys more, argues more, and thinks less. Choosing calm in this environment isn't neutral. It's a quiet rebellion against a culture that profits from keeping your nervous system on edge. Every time you refuse to panic, you opt out of the collective anxiety. Every time you slow down instead of rushing, you take back mental focus. That's not laziness, that's discipline in its most modern form. Calm becomes a form of self-development because it protects your internal bandwidth. You stop living on emotional autopilot and start choosing how you respond, how you spend your time, and what actually deserves your energy. This rebellion doesn't look dramatic. There are no speeches, no announcements, just quiet decisions. You don't engage in online drama. You don't explain yourself to everyone. You don't chase validation or cheap dopamine hits. Instead, you invest in deep work, real productivity, and long-term personal growth. Books like Deep Work or Digital Minimalism echo this truth. The ability to stay calm and focused is becoming the ultimate competitive advantage. And here's the twist. Rebellion has a cost. When you stop participating in the panic, you feel the discomfort first. Silence feels awkward. Slowness feels wrong. Your brain, trained for stimulation, starts protesting. That resistance isn't a sign you're failing. It's proof that you're stepping out of conditioning. But knowing this raises a deeper question. If calm is a rebellion, how do you actually build it when your nervous system is addicted to chaos? Here's the truth most people want to skip. Calm isn't a personality trait, it's a trained skill. No one wakes up unshakable. You earn it through repetition. Emotional reps, small, boring, daily choices that don't look impressive but quietly reshape your mindset. Just like the gym, progress in self-development doesn't come from intensity once in a while. It comes from consistency when nobody's watching. The reps are simple, but not easy. Pause before replying. Let a message sit unanswered for an hour. Walk away from unnecessary tension. Sit with discomfort instead of numbing it with your phone. These micro actions teach your nervous system that not reacting is safe. Over time, your mental focus improves, your productivity stabilizes, and your time management stops feeling like a constant emergency. You can structure this practice. Start with one rule: no emotional decisions in the first 10 minutes of discomfort. Another rep: one daily block of silence. No music, no scrolling, just thinking or walking. Reading helps too. Books like The Obstacle is the Way or Meditations train perspective and emotional restraint. These aren't ancient ideas, they're modern survival tools in a hyperstimulated world. What's powerful about these reps is how invisible they are. Nobody claps when you don't react. Nobody rewards you for staying grounded. But internally, something shifts. You stop feeling hijacked by emotion. And that's when calm becomes your default, not your effort. Still, there's a reason this feels so hard for so many people. The nervous system itself is exhausted. And that's the hidden cost no one warns you about. Here's what most people misinterpret. Feeling tired all the time doesn't mean you're lazy. It means your nervous system is overstimulated. Your brain wasn't built for constant alerts, emotional spikes, and endless decision making. When stimulation never stops, your system stays in low-grade survival mode. That's why mental focus collapses, productivity feels forced, and self-development starts to feel like another task instead of a path forward. Your nervous system reads chaos as danger. Every notification, argument, comparison, or urgent demand tells your brain, stay alert. Over time, cortisol becomes the background noise of your life. This drains emotional energy and destroys time management because everything feels equally urgent. The result? Burnout without meaning. Motion without progress. You're busy, but not growing. And that's one of the most frustrating life lessons modern adults face. This is why people crave chaos without realizing it. Hyperstimulation feels familiar, even addictive, because it masks deeper discomfort. Silence brings unresolved thoughts to the surface. Stillness forces awareness, so the brain reaches for distraction instead. But the cost is steep. Creativity drops, discipline weakens, and your ability to stay calm under pressure disappears. Books like Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers explain this clearly. Chronic stress isn't intensity, it's mismanaged energy. The breakthrough comes when you understand this. Calm isn't just psychological, it's physiological. You're not bad at focus, your system is exhausted. And once you see that, the question shifts from motivation to recovery. Because when the nervous system finally feels safe again, something surprising happens. Calm stops feeling like effort and starts producing a kind of presence that people can feel the moment you walk into a room. When calm becomes your baseline, the first thing that changes is clarity. Decisions stop feeling heavy. You think faster because you're no longer emotionally cluttered. Your mindset shifts from reactive to deliberate. This is where mental focus sharpens naturally, without forcing productivity hacks or grinding harder. You're not calmer because life got easier. Life feels easier because your internal noise finally dropped. Confidence shows up next, but not the loud kind. It's quiet, grounded, almost invisible. And that's what makes it powerful. You don't rush to prove yourself. You don't over-explain. You don't chase approval. Your presence carries weight because it's stable. This is personal growth people can feel without you saying a word. Ironically, the calmer you get, the more attention you command. There's also an unexpected side effect: energy preservation. You stop wasting emotional fuel on drama, comparison, or urgency that doesn't move your life forward. Time management improves because fewer things feel like emergencies. Your productivity becomes clean, focused, intentional. You start living by a different rule, not doing more, but doing what matters. That's how calm quietly upgrades how to live better. And here's the delicious part. Calm confuses chaotic people. They don't know how to read you anymore. You're not distant, just grounded. Not cold, just centered. You don't absorb their turbulence. You become the person who doesn't just have presence, you are presence. And once you experience that state, you realize something important. This wasn't about becoming calm. It was about reclaiming control over your mind, your week, and your life. Now it's on you. Everything you heard today means nothing if it stays intellectual. Calm isn't a personality trait you admire in others. It's a discipline you practice when no one is watching. So ask yourself honestly, where are you still reacting instead of choosing? Where are you giving your energy to chaos that doesn't deserve it? Rewiring your mind is uncomfortable. Sitting with silence is uncomfortable. Not reacting is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is the price of real personal growth. Here's the challenge. Don't try to change your whole life this week. That's the old trap. Pick one moment, just one, where you pause instead of react. One message you don't answer immediately. one argument you don't enter, one urge you don't obey. That's how discipline becomes embodied. That's how mental focus strengthens. And that's how you slowly take back control of your time management, your productivity, and your internal state. Stay quiet, stay sharp, stay in progress. And if this video made you realize how overstimulated your mind really is, you need to understand one thing. Calm is step one, but resetting your entire internal system is step two. That's why I recommend watching the video on your screen next. 11 brain tricks for happiness in 15 seconds. The last one changes everything. Because learning how to stay calm is powerful, but learning how your brain actually creates happiness is what makes that calm sustainable. Subscribe to Mind in Progress, turn on notifications, and keep upgrading your mind, one idea at a time.